YouTube. How are you guys today? It's Jake back with another video. Today I just wanted to talk about FIFA points and FIFA point spending and if you should do it or if you shouldn't. And I think there's a few different factors to definitely take into account and some things that some people don't talk about often or I don't even think they think about it. So I'm hoping to touch on everything, lay it out for you guys, and you can decide how much you want to spend. And I'll tell you guys when you should spend them to get the most out of your money. We're going to break this video down into three parts. The first part will be how EA manipulates us a little bit, but mostly that we manipulate ourselves into buying FIFA points, and it's due to that competitive aspect. Secondly, I want to talk about how I think FIFA points are gambling. I think that they totally are and that it needs to be discussed. And lastly, I want to talk about how buying FIFA points can really ruin the pacing of the game cycle. I think that that's not often talked about and not viewed that way, but I'd like to bring up some alternate thinking about it. So firstly, I want to talk about how social media influencers and EA kind of encourage the usage of FIFA points, whether they know it or they don't. EA basically put candy out for us. They put candy out and they say, hey, if you buy FIFA points, you're going to get ahead of other people, or it's going to be a Kickstarter, or you won't have to grind as much, or whatever you want to view it as. They basically tempt us with FIFA points, and many people buy into it for any of those reasons. On top of that, social media influencers and the biggest accounts in FIFA actually really encourage it as well. So I think of the Castros and the Batesons and the AA9s of the world that are spending thousands of dollars on FIFA points even from day one. And I think some of them even sometimes say in their videos, like, I don't recommend doing this, I don't recommend buying points, and I know they're doing it for content, and I know they're doing it to get the best team and try the best players right away and do reviews so their videos get views. So I get that, but secondarily, they're also encouraging kids and people in general to buy FIFA points, and that's whether they're doing it intentionally or not. If people are watching pack opening videos, basically how the mind works is they're gonna watch all these videos and they're gonna watch 5 packs be opened up. 4 of those packs might be horrible, but one of those packs might contain Inform Aguero, and that's the pack that people are going to talk about. That's the pack that people are going to put on Twitter or Instagram or clickbait, and then essentially you start tricking your mind into thinking, okay, maybe I'll just open one pack and then I could get that Inform Aguero, and that would be a huge boost on my account. And you start telling yourself this stuff, and it makes you really want to buy FIFA points. On top of that, I'm also like really seeing this in the trading community this year more than ever, and it's kind of odd to me. I started trading because I didn't want to spend money on FIFA points to keep up. I still wanted to have a better team than my friends, but I was in high school at the time I started playing FIFA, and I didn't have much money, and I definitely wasn't going to spend a ton on FIFA. I am not a spender of FIFA points. I never have, and I don't ever intend to, and I don't think you need them to stay up to date with where your team is and with where the rest of the community is. But I feel like the more people do FIFA points and the more they tell people about it, the more it encourages it. I'm seeing really big trading accounts on Twitter, especially. They know who they are, who are going to start spending money on FIFA points. Whether they know it or not, I think that's encouraging people to spend money because they're going to watch those traders and they're going to watch people they know and they're going to say, oh, I'm just using FIFA points so I can get a little bit of a kickstart. I don't need them. I just don't want to go through the initial phase, which I think is kind of fair, but I think they're exaggerating it. And like that beginning grind has always been some of the most fun in Ultimate Team for a lot of people. And starting at ground zero is what the game's about. So if you're a trader, what coin total do you need to get past that initial grind to start? For me, I'd say it's around 100K, maybe 150K, and although it's really annoying to get that much to start, once you're there, you're totally good. And how long is that going to take? Maybe a couple days if you're really good at trading. So you're spending a few $100s to skip a couple days when you're going to be on the game a ton anyways. I don't really understand that. I think it's actually more of a justification about that. They just want to kickstart and they want to use those coins to double or triple them or use them to have a better team faster, and that's totally fair. I think they should outright say it or acknowledge it if that's the case, but I don't know if skipping the grind is a good enough reason to spend a few hundred extra dollars on FIFA points, especially for influencers who have a large following, and some of them are also kids under the age of 18, and I think you're promoting the usage of them whether you know it or not. Just make sure you understand that, and if you're gonna do it and you have the extra funds to do it, that's totally fine. But just know that it might encourage others to do the same, whether they can or can't afford them. Secondly, I wanted to talk a little bit about how EA has introduced us to surprise mechanics. That was an ongoing meme and joke on social media, and I think that was super duper funny. I think that EA essentially went to court about the gambling component of FIFA points, and they claimed that it's a feature called surprise mechanics, which is the funniest terminology I think they could have used. Of course, they had planned it probably for weeks and months to use those exact terms to get around the word gambling, but it totally is. And honestly, like, if you don't understand that, that's a huge problem in itself. But it's totally gambling. Basically, it's saying like, hey, I'm gonna spend $20 and I know I could get nothing back, or I know I could get X amount of value back. You know, maybe it's a value worth $10 even. Maybe it's a million coins. But you need to know that the value differs a ton, and that's what keeps people gambling. Is it's that one more component or what if component. Slot machines are a good example of that. How often are you gonna win? One in 50,000 polls, and that one more component or what if component keeps you going. FIFA packs are really the exact same thing for people. People go spend so many coins or so much money in hopes that they're going to get that crazy pull that people talk about, but if it doesn't come, you look at your credit card or you look at the money you've spent, and it's kind of shocking and it's sad. And you know, I've literally had DMs since I started media where kids say, hey, I spent money on my mom's credit card, or I ran and took my parents' credit card, or for my birthday I got this, and it's all revolves around FIFA points. They totally feel like they need them to keep up, and that's really not a good mentality, and it's not really fair for them to go through that without them fully understanding that it's addicting, and they may slowly become that one more type of mentality. So I think that Belgium did something great. I know they outlawed them from their whole country. I think that's a severe extent. I think that they could essentially have a consent for kids and people under the age of 18 or whatever the adult age is in that country. I think they need to make that very transparent that it is a gambling function and feature. And then adults can choose to do it, just like they can choose to, you know, drink, and they can choose to buy lottery tickets. That's a choice, and you have your own consent to do that, and you should know what you're getting into as an adult. I think it's kind of silly. I think it promotes gambling. I think that we push people to gamble, whether the community knows it or not. Lastly, I want to actually talk about something that I haven't seen mentioned that I think is really pertinent, and it's that I think FIFA points can really hurt the game cycle. People don't realize this, but a lot of the times when people are saying FIFA 19 is dead, sure, FIFA 19 wasn't a great game. And I'm not here to tell you that it was. I don't think it was. I thought gameplay was horrific. It changed each time after patches. Content was hit or miss, but it wasn't horrible. And there have been other cycles of the game that were close to that. But I think that so many people are saying FIFA is dying earlier and earlier. This year it was in February. Is because they complete the game faster. For me, and I think many other users, Ultimate Team is about starting from ground zero with nothing, like you're managing a club, and slowly adding in those pieces and components to build your dream teams. It's so exciting when you get that first player with 30,000 coins. And then it's exciting when you get that 100k player. And then if you start adding in an icon or your favorite player in real life, it's more exciting, and it's that progression system that keeps us playing. And it's why we're so hyped for FIFA 20. We're all going to use cards that we haven't used in nearly 12 months. So I don't really get the usage of FIFA points, and I don't get how people saying the game is dying so early can buy them, because the game is dying for you early because you're already getting those top teams so much earlier. And if you can get those top teams so earlier, you don't need the points. And it's just, that pretty much proves itself. And I think this year will be really easy to notice that if gameplay is good. So if FIFA 20 gameplay is really, really good, people are playing it pretty much all year consistently, and people are saying, again, by February or March, the game is dead, well, look at your team. Have you completed Ultimate Team? Is that a team you envisioned? And if it is, yeah, the game's kind of over for you. It really hurts the game cycle, in my opinion, for those that spend hundreds and feel like they complete the game early. For me, I always have, and I think I always will, start the game at ground zero because I think it's really fun. And on top of that, now I know I'm influencing people around me, and my goal is to have people spend less money in the long run. Essentially, if I'm doing a road to glory and they're seeing me produce 50 million plus coins, which honestly you only need like 1 or 2 hours a day max to produce that coin total. I think it's encouraging, and I think that it should be a reduction of them. All in all, with those 3 points, I'd encourage you to at least write down what you're spending on FIFA points and take a look at it. It might be more than you think. And then on top of that, if you're going to spend points, I suggest doing it on day one of EA Access. This year, both consoles have EA Access. I'll talk about that more in another video on how it changes the market. But your coins and your real money will be most valuable if you put on those points right at the start. You can couple it with EA Access and the 10 hours of early play, so I'd really recommend doing that. If you're planning to spend money on FIFA points this year, let me know below how much. I'm actually really curious to hear from you guys. And then make sure you like and subscribe if you like these videos, and there'll be more coming soon.